Hello, bilingual volunteers! Thanks for sticking with me for the Caucus video. There are basically 4 things that everybody needs to know in their language about the Caucus. When, where, what, and how. So when? March 1st, 6:30. Technically the Caucus starts at 7 and should be over by 8, but we're trying to tell everybody to be there at 6:30 just because lines could be getting a little crazy. We want to make sure every Bernie Sanders supporter is in the door and has a good experience, etc. So March 1st, 6:30 is the win. Where? You won't be able to say it in a video because this is a video that is geared at people throughout the state. What you can tell them is that they need to learn the word caucus, because if you Google the words Minnesota and caucus together, you will find a tool where you can type in an address and get an address of where you're supposed to go. And either the person showing this video, if they happen to have a smartphone with a data plan, might be able to help them right there. If not, they will need to learn they probably already know how to say Minnesota, even if they know absolutely no English. But they might want to memorize the word caucus, because those are the 2 words there that a friend is going to have to help them type into the internet and find out where to go, because it's not necessarily where they vote. It will be close to their house, but it's not exactly where they vote. The what is explaining that a caucus is where we choose who's going to be the Democrats' nominee for president, and the how is telling them that they get there, they check in, they have a seat, they get a ballot, they make sure that they can tell on the ballot which line says Bernie and which line says Hillary, and they check off that ballot, and then they can go home if they want. And maybe let them also know that the meeting is going to continue even after the ballot, and that it's people who want to be very involved in state and local politics, and that they're welcome to stay, but they don't have to after they've turned their ballot in to the official people taking ballots. So here's an example script. I'm going to be reading off of it a lot because I just wrote it today, whereas I was practicing the last one a lot more yesterday. You can use my script. I've got it at sites.google.com/site, I think, /KS Bernie Stuff. You may have already that might be where you're watching this video. Otherwise, just improvise, but just remember that you need to say the when, the where, the what, and the how. When? March 1st, 6:30 p.m. Where? You're going to have to look it up on the internet, but it'll be near you. What? We're picking the president for the November election. And how? You check in, you fill out a ballot, you go home. Okay, here we go. I'm so happy that you're planning to join me in voting for Bernie Sanders on March 1st. Here's what to expect. At 6:30 p.m., you should go to your neighborhood's DFL, Democratic Party caucus. A caucus is a neighborhood meeting of the DFL party. At this meeting, Minnesotans are going to decide who should receive the Democratic nomination for president. So, please be prepared to recite your address or have it written on a piece of paper so that the front desk at the caucus can verify that you are in the correct place. Check in at the desk and have a seat. Around 7 o'clock, the caucus organizer will pass out ballots that say Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. If you have any trouble reading the ballot, and if you're the only English American in the room, just point at the candidates on your ballot until one of your neighbors figures it out and reads you their names out loud. And since you're voting for Bernie Sanders, pay attention so that you can remember which line said Bernie Sanders. Mark the line that says Bernie Sanders and turn in your ballot to the party officials who have the ballot collection box. After you're sure that your ballot has been collected, you're done. If you want, you can stay long enough to hear who won the election. People who want to help organize the party for state and local affairs stay for the rest of the meeting. People who only wanted to vote for who the Democratic Party chooses for president go home after turning in their presidential ballots. This meeting is going to be close to your home, but it might not be in the same building where you normally vote. That's really important to remember. Near you, but maybe or maybe not where you normally vote. The reason is that the Democrats and the Republicans have to have separate meeting places, and the place you normally vote is probably only big enough for one of them, if it's even big enough at all. So it might or might not be where you normally vote. but it will be in your neighborhood. What you're going to need to do is really learn the word caucus. Caucus. My friend here, if they have a phone with the internet, they might be able to help you find out where you're going to caucus. Otherwise, ask somebody, a family, a friend, to Google Minnesota caucus for you. And a tool should be within the first few results that they can type in your address to and find out where your caucus is. Make sure you get the Democratic caucus and not the Republican caucus. So that's all. Just go to a caucus meeting in your neighborhood on March 1st at 6:30 p.m. Take a ballot and vote for Bernie Sanders. It's that simple. See you on March 1st.